Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic and a puzzle by Olimar, and that always makes me happy. Olimar does great stuff. Actually, he's done puzzles based on snooker before, and this one is as well, although no, I was going to say we're not getting a visual representation of a snooker table here, but maybe we are. Goodness, maybe we are. Anyway, we will look at that in a moment. I don't want to forget to mention The Wind in the Willows, our Sudoku hunt on Patreon, along with all the other good stuff on Patreon. It's great. Everybody loves it. Seriously. That's not just a Trumpian quote. Everybody does seem to love it. And there's all sorts of other stuff on Patreon as well, like like crossword and connections and gridogram videos. Do check it out. Loads of puzzle content and all for you. So please join us on Patreon. Also, there's Sven's Sudoku pad linked under the video. You can support Sven. There's all of our apps and you can try them. They include such wonders as Classic Sudoku 2, and the puzzles by Nikoli and Sam Cappleman-Lynes especially are fantastic. Please check them out. You will be blown away. There's also other apps and the Worms, and of course we've been putting extra stuff on the channel lately. Simon's brilliant crossword video with Peter's Fiddler, the masterclasses, the GCHQ video. So much going up, so much extra content. We love bringing it to you and we hope to do more. But tonight I am looking at Snooker Nights by Olimar. For some reason, that spelling of snooker makes me want to say snooker, which is closer to the American pronunciation and one that I would normally ignore completely. But for some reason, it looks a bit like it to me. It might be Snooker Nights. Anyway, I'm going to explain the rules. Now, maybe, before I do the rules, have we got a table here? Is this sort of the outline of a snooker table and then a cue pointing at the white ball and a black ball? Could be down to the last ball on the table. That might be what's going on. What I thought was going on at first is 147 appearing 4 times. 147 is the maximum break in snooker. Don't write in about the possibility of a free ball and the fact that you could have a break of 155. I'm well aware. The maximum plausible break is 147. So that is why it is a special number for Sudoku. But in this puzzle, 147 appears in the quadruple cells. Now, here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Digits a knight's move apart in chess must be different. So I delve into my chess bag and get out Mr. Knighty McKnightface. Here he is to remind me of the rule in case I forget. Adjacent digits on a green line, their German whispers, must differ by at least 5. The black dot shows one digit is double the other on that domino. The white dot shows a difference of 1 on that domino. Not all dots are necessarily given. Digits in circles appear at least once in the 4 surrounding cells. So these cells must contain at least 1 1, at least 1 4, and at least 1 7. Those are the rules. This is the latest in quite a sequence of quadruples puzzles that have been featuring on the channel. And they've all been really good. So let's see what happens. Let's get cracking. Okay, we've got those 147s. Yes, these ones are useful because those form X-wings. Now, what is an X-wing? An X-wing is when you have one digit in one place and one digit in another. And that means, one digit in one column, say, and one digit in another column. And we don't know whether the ones are in column 2 here or column 3, but they're in one of them. We don't know whether the ones here are in column 2 or in column 3, but they're in one of them. And that's going to use up all the ones in columns 2 and 3 and mean that in this box, and indeed in these cells, you can't have a 1 in column 2 or 3. They've all been used up. So in box 4, where do the 1s go? In this group of cells. And the same is true for 4s and 7s. So that has to be a 147 triple. And on the green line, you can't put 4 touching either 1 or 7. So that's a 1-7 pair, and this digit is a 4, and we've found our first digit in the puzzle. Now that's all very well. And it is all very well. It doesn't apply so well to columns 6 and 7, because although it does eliminate 1, 4 and 7 from all of these cells, that's not so useful, because there is no box in which they get confined to a group of 3 cells like there. In this box, you can kind of tell they're not all in those cells, but that's all. So these triples, again, because these 147s breach box borders, these X-wings don't work as well in the rows either. Again, it's true that these cells can't contain 1, 4 or 7 for the same reasons laterally as we were looking at vertically, but it's not as powerful a fact. Now, I'm going to run through the things that I tell you about green lines that have these differences of 5 on German whisper lines. You can never put 5 on such a line because there is no Sudoku digit that can touch it. Secondly, you have to alternate between higher than 5 and lower than 5 digits. So coming down this column, we will alternate. Those 3 will either be high digits and those 2 low ones, or the other way around. The final thing, and it might be of use in this puzzle, is that in positions where 2 neighbours see each other, like this pink cell has 2 neighbours that are in the same column, you can't use the number 4 or 6 because each of 4 and 6 has only one possible partner. 4 has 9, 6 has 1. So we would know that there's no 4 in any of these cells, and that does give us an X-wing. We also know there's no 4 in any of these cells. Okay, so now what I'm learning from that is there is no 4 in any of these cells. So there is a 4 in one of these cells in box 2. And we know there's a 4 in one of those cells in box 1. So that is an X-wing and says that the 4 in box 3 must be in this row. Now I'm not ruling, yes I am ruling out that cell. I'm ruling out that cell based on the 147 X-wing of columns 6 and 7, which is confining the 2 4s to those boxes and therefore not allowing it there. So one of these digits is a 4. Now I'm also going to mark positions for 4 in this box. I'm going to mark them as not being available to be in these cells because of this X-wing, not being available to be in these cells because of this rule that you can't put a 4 in a cell where its 2 neighbours see each other. And therefore all of these cells are ruled out. That 4 rules out that cell. And now there's a 4 in one of those 2. And this is going to fix the 4 in box 3 for us. Now we know that there's a 4 in one of these 3 cells by Sudoku. We know it's not there by the X-wing that we achieved here. So there's a 4 in one of those cells. And that is an X-wing on 4s in rows 7 and 8 and puts a 4 in one of these cells. So we've got quite a good bit of 4 business done. There's also a 4 around this. We know exactly where it goes. The 4 around this quadruple is not in that box where there's a 4 there, and it's not on that cell which has 2 neighbours that see each other, so it's got to be here. And that means 4 in box 1 is confined to 2 cells, and that's not a 4 as well. So we got some good stuff done with 4s. I suspect that's the only helpful digit in the puzzle, but let's just have a think about the rest of what we've got going on and see if we can come up with anything else. Can we rule 4 out of this cell? Not necessarily is my first answer. That would put 9 in both of those positions. They don't see each other, so it's not illegal. They do force 9 to end up in one of those cells, but that even seems like not a problem. This black dot can't have a 4 there. Could it have one here? Probably. Yeah, I don't see why not. Okay, I'm going to think about these 3 cells, which need to contain a 1 and a 7. But remember the second fact I gave you about German whispers. The digits must alternate between high and low. So either these 2 are both high, or they're both low. So if one of them is a 1, the other one is not a 7, and that would have to be a 7. But if one of these is a 7, the other one is not a 1, and this would have to be a 1. So this cell must be 1 or 7. I wish I could do something similar with that, some of the other quadruples, but they don't really have the interaction with the whispers that would allow that. Now, if this was a 7, these digits would be a 1 and another digit that is not a 1 because the 2 1s are getting used up in these areas, the 2 1s for rows 2 and 3. So if that's a 7, these are definitely a 1 and a 2. If that's a 7, this is definitely a 2. If this is a 4, this has to be 9. Okay, I don't know what this is doing for me. And I don't know how to progress, but it's interesting stuff already. That digit is going to be in one of these cells. It's going to be the 1 or 7 down here. Seven being here. No, I'm sorry. I'm not really. If this was a 7, that can be a. Well, no, that they would both have to be 2s. That's really weird. Yeah, I'm literally going to highlight now all of the digits in the puzzle which I know do not contain, all of the cells in the puzzle which I know do not contain 1, 4 or 7 because of the various X-wings that we've been set up with at the beginning. All of these yellow cells do not contain 1, 4 or 7. That feels quite powerful still. That digit doesn't as well, or this one, partly because of the 417 triple, but mostly because of the quadruples there. Oh, sorry, I failed to switch off my alerts to email. I normally manage to remember, but not always. Now, come on, 4 here, 1s and 7s. See, there must be a 1 or a 7 there, because that can't take both of them in this box. The trouble with 1s and 7, oh, the knight's moved. Here he is. Knighty McKnightface is trying to shout at me like you are and say, look, that 4 has sorted out where 4 goes here, and that sorts out where 4 goes here, and that sorts out where 4 goes here. Thank you, Mr. McKnightface. I forgot you. Those can't be 4s. There's 1 in one of those positions. There's 1 in one of those 2. No, it can't be here. That's the 4. And now we've got, is that the last 4 in? There's got to be a 4 in the central box. Oh, it's on the black dot. Yes, it is. Right, so, knight's move. I forgot it. You know it happens all too often. That is a 2, I got all too excited by the X-wings, didn't I? That is a 2 or an 8 because of the black dot. Now, what has this done? Maybe it's not so much what it's done as what it's going to do. Right, this digit, where does that go on this 147 triple? It's not allowed to go there or there. So whatever this is, and I'm going to colour it blue, must be there. That is the one, that is this digit appearing in this quadruple. And that's quite interesting. It must then appear in one of these 2 cells. No, but that's good. Look, this digit cannot be blue. Why do I say that? Because one of these 2 cells is blue according to this quadruple. And they both see that one. This one by knight's move and that one by being in the same box. So this one can't be blue. So where's the blue digit in the top row? It's now in one of those 2 cells. And now this can't be blue. This can't be blue because it's in the same row. And this is blue. And now by the knight's move, this one can't be. It Tigger bounces back to there. Now blue can't be on those cells. So in the box, it's in one of these 2. In the quadruple, it's in one of those 2. It has to now be in one of these two by Sudoku. We're just following blue around at the moment. And it can't be there or there. So it's in one of these three in box 6. I am going to bother to pencil mark that. It's in one of these. No, that blue says it's not there. It's in one of these two. And how can we resolve the positions of blue, or is that not the game at this point? Now, the game at this point may be instead to wonder if blue can be 7. Because if it is, that's a 7, that's a 1, this digit is 2. And this 7 needs to be flanked by a 1 and 2 as well. That would be 1, this would be 2. So we'd have 2s in both of those positions. Now I can't rule it out. Either those two are 7s, in which case we are blues. Sorry, I don't know that blue is 7. It might not be. In which case we get blues in those positions. Or these 2s are 7s, in which case we get blues, not 7s, in which case we get blues in those positions. Maybe we need to think about the other digit, and maybe we need to think about it in a creative way. Right, one of these, okay, I'm going to call the other digit from 147. Obviously we've got 4 and we've got blue. I'm going to call the other one green. That's in one of those two cells, and therefore it's not here. And therefore in box 3, it must be here, because only the white cells are available to hold green. So we found it around this. Well, I mean, it could also be here as well. We're allowed repeats. And that's interesting because, but we've ruled green out from there. So where's green in the top row? It's there. And then green is here in, oh, and that, is that going to destroy my fantasy of 7 being in blue? Because that's a 2. No, it doesn't. That's a 2. No, it doesn't. It's fine. This is green because it's the other digit from 147. This cell sees those 2. Ah, green can't be here now because it's there. So it's in one of these 2. Now, I must try and keep in my brain that we're allowed a repeat. So that could still, well, it can't be green, but the point is we're allowed a repeat around the quadruples. Anyway, green in this box is now in one of these 2 cells, and I can't see that the knight's move makes either of those impossible. Green in this box is in one of those 2. And now green must be in one of these 2. They are a 1-7 pair. In fact, everywhere where we've got green as green and blue as a definite pair, we can write in the 1-7 pairing. Now, green cannot be there or there. But all of these look possible to me. In box 6. No, not that one, sorry. 3 of them look possible. And that's a bit of a surprise, but there we go. I mean, this is, now surely we can turn this over to the German whispers. Somewhere 7 is going to be difficult. 7 is more constrained than 1. If that's a 7, this digit is a 2. And then this has to be 8. And is that interesting and helpful? Oh, this pair is going to have a 1 on or a 7, because blue is either 1 or 7. So this is either a 1-2 pair, which is very constrained, and would make this 7 and this 8. Oh, it's all, yeah, okay. If blue was a 1, which is what we're postulating here, then that's a 1, and this is high, and this is low. But if we're putting a 1 here with 2, that digit, which would be low, would have to be a 3. And since that was 8, this would have to be 9. It's a really interesting set of corollaries. But I can't quite work it out. I've made these blue. No, I don't know. I think there's some clever way of... This digit is not 1 or 7 now because it sees a pair. I hadn't realised that. And this digit sees a pair in its box. So actually I could make these yellow now. That's weird. That one sees green and blue, so that's yellow too, and that one. And this one, right. So there aren't that many places blue and green can go. I mean, I should really mark up the possible greens here. There we go, those cells are possibly green. I might be missing something on the knight's move, or... if that was blue, that would have to be blue because it would have to be the same polarity. It couldn't be if that was 1, this couldn't be 7 because you have to alternate as you go along the line. So if this is blue, this is the same polarity and there, but I think this works. I think we sort of tried that. So somewhere there's a problem with 7, and I don't know where it is. What's happening to 2s? If this is a 7, it makes that high. If this is a 7, these both have to be 2s. I do know that. And then this digit can't be a 2. So if that's a 7, it can't be blue. Because if that's a 7, this blue cell, that has to be 2. So if this is a 7, it's green. And then we're getting 7s in these green positions. And does that force 2s anywhere? Only here. Well, there and here. Oh, that's beautiful. Right. That is why this cannot be... We worked out why it can't be a blue 7, because that puts a 2 here and a 2 here, and they clash. Why it can't be a green 7 is, in my opinion, utterly beautiful. That puts a 2 here, and because this is a green 7 now, that's a 2. And now 2 in column 5 is utterly impossible. It can't go there on the knight's move from here, and it can't go there on the whisper move from here. They can't be the same digit. So this digit can never be a 7, whether blue or green. Now, that may not finish the puzzle at all. It gives me a 1 and a 7 there, and a 1 and a 7 here. And it sorts out 1 and 7 here. But it doesn't tell me which colour is which. It means 7's in one of those cells and 1's in one of these. Now, that 1 sees those 2 cells. That means 1 is in one of these 2 cells, but 1 is blue and 1 is green. So, what can we do with 7? We know it's one of those, one of those, one of these 2. Can 7 be there? No. 7 cannot be in this cell because this digit would be high. It would be 6 or 8, but that has to alternate from here. So this is now definitely low. It's 1, 2, or 3. And that digit on the white dot, we can't go through 4, so that's 1, 2, or 3. One of them is a 2, and that digit becomes an 8. But neither of them can be 7 because they're from 1, 2, 3. So blue is not... let's highlight blue. Why won't that highlight blue once I'm on colour? There we go. Blue is not able to be high anymore. I don't know. So blue is what? Blue is 1. So those digits are 1s. Perhaps more importantly, I have to colour these. Those are definitely blue, and these are definitely green. And now that cell can't be green, and this one can't be blue. This one can't be blue on the knight's move, and therefore this is blue, and is 1. And that must be right. And that's going to place a 1 here in a blue cell. And this digit is obviously going to be 2 now. How are we doing on 1s? Have we got them all in? That's all 9 of them in. Right, how are we doing on 7s? Not as well, but now we've suddenly got 7 of them in the grid. 1 there or there, and 1 there or there. A weird little X-wing on 7s. Not weird, it's just happened, it's fine. Okay, I'm going to get rid of all the yellow because it's done its job. And in fact, the blue's done its job because we found all the 1s. So it's just green 7s we've got left marked. Now, that digit is a 2 because it's sitting next to a 7. And we've got a 2 here, and by knight's move, and by whisper, that's not a 2, so we get 2 here. These digits are high, but they could be any high digit. The same is true for this one. This one is not quite any high digit because it can't be 6 because that would need a 1 here. It also sees 7 and 8, so that's a definite 9. This is low, 2 or 3. This is high and it can't be 7 or 8. 6 wouldn't work because of the digit next to it, so that's 9. This is low, this is 3. This is now a 5, 6, 9 triple, and that digit becomes 8. This is a 3 to finish the box. This is a 5, 6, 8 triple. This is a 3, 7, 9 triple. Obviously one cell doesn't contain a 7. This is a 5, 6 pair. We've got the knight's move still to focus on, but I'm just going to do some Sudoku first. 3 there gives us 2 here. Okay, knight's move. 3 sees both of those cells and puts 3 in one of these 2, and then that puts 3 in one of these 2. Oh, I don't know. There's so much to do now. Whispers and knight's moves. It's excellent. The whole puzzle has opened up. That's just what we wanted. I don't know how to tackle it at all. Right. So many options. 9, 9. That can't be 9 by knight's move. So we get a 9 here. I'm looking for knight's moves and stuff. That 8 sees this cell, so that's not 8. That 5, 6 pair? No, this has to be high by Sudoku, by whisper rules. So that's 6 or 8. Seven, no, 9, no, 1. Oh, what am I missing? 2. That 2 sees all of those cells, so we get to place 2 in box thingy. That box 4. That 2 also sees all of those cells, so now 2's in one of those cells. But 2's also in one of these cells by Sudoku, so that's a 2, 3 pair. This digit is 5 or 6. Now somehow we're going to be able to use that 5, 6 pair looking at these. And it does, but they both look at this cell, so it can't be 5 or 6. Also 4, 2, 1, 7 are ruled out. So this is 3, 8 or 9. It's not 8 by knight's move, so it's 3 or 9. And now we've got a little pair again. So everything else in the row is 5, 6 or 8. I'm stumbling around a bit, sorry. That can't be 2. Because of the whisper. So we can place 2 in the box. Then we can place 7 in the box here. And then we've done all our 7s. Sorry, hit the wrong button. Right. So all the 7s are done. Let's get rid of green now. Because we're just playing Sudoku at this point. That 2 has fixed 3 and 2. These digits are from 5, 6, 8. One of those has to be an 8 in the row, so that's not an 8. Now, this is hard. We've got this whisper. These 2 aren't allowed to be 6 in these non-monogamous positions. So that's an 8, 9 pair. and this is low and is 3. And that 3 is going to give us a 3 in one of these cells, but I don't know which. Okay, in this column, we've got a 5-6 pair left over. That gives me a 5-6 pair up here in box 3, so that digit's 8. These are from 5-6-9, and one of them is a 9. That's a 5-6-9 triple. So in the box, we have a 2-8 pair, and they're resolved by this 8. Ooh, what did I just do? I just knocked out 4 accidentally. So that's 8. This can't be 8 on the Whisper. That's a 5-6-9 triple in the row. So these digits left are 3 and 8. That is 5 or 6 because it can't be 9. 2 is probably placed in this box. It is. I just hadn't noticed it. And that is 5 or 6. So this is the only place for 9 in the box. This can't be a 9 now. We've got that 5-6 pair in the column. This digit has to be 3 or 8. Oh, over here we've got an 8-9 pair, so that's not 8. This is from 3-5-6. I'm trying to keep my eye out for Knight's moves. I'm not really seeing... this digit isn't allowed in either of those cells, including the Knight's move, so that has to be the same as this one. That's lightly interesting. Oh, that 8 sees this cell by Knight's move. There we go. That's good. We get 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight. Losing its religion. This 9 is looking at this cell, which can't be a 9. 9 in this row only has one place because that one is ruled out by Knight's move. So 9 is there. This is 8. I thought that was going to set us alight and it didn't. This digit can't be 8 in the row because of that. Oh my goodness, I'm sure this is absolutely straightforward now. I can't see how to finish. We'll get there, don't worry, we'll get there. This digit, this yellow digit, appears in one of those cells. That digit has to be there in row 8, or in box 8 rather. Oh, that's not as helpful as I wanted. This one is 3-5-6, the only cell I haven't pencil marked. Oh, Simon would curse at me. This is 5, 6 or 9 because it can't be 3. So 3 is now in one of those two cells and one of these two. And one of these two. I just don't think they're ruled out yet. I can't believe there's a difficult stage still to come here. There might be. It would surprise me a lot. But still, since I'm not finishing, that digit can't be there. So that digit's in one of these two. Or one of these two is an 8. That doesn't get it done. The Whispers, they're all complete apart from that cell and that cell. And there's just no resolving those from what we've got. Okay, if this was a 6, that would have to be 6. That would be 6. That would be 6. That would have to be 6. That didn't do it. I'll have you shouting at the screen any moment. 8 sees that cell. That can't be 8. So 8 is placed in the central box. Maybe that's what you saw. So that digit now is 6, and that is going to do some stuff. That can't be 6. We were just following this around the grid, and it's appropriate that we were, because it is now a very solvable digit. 6 there means 6 is not in any of these cells. That's a 3-5-9 triple. This is 8. That's 5, 8, 6. Right, 3, 5, 9 there are resolved except they're not yet. That can't be 6 anymore. This one can't be 3 and never could have been, and that's important. That's a 5-6 bet. In fact, this is a 5-6 deadly pattern. That's a 3. This is 5. That gives us 9 and 3 down here. 9 and 3 there. 5, 6, 9. Are these resolved? Or 5, 9 here? No. 9. 2 9s looking at that cell. So this is where 9 goes in the box. 5, 9 there. Now, a 5-6 deadly pattern here and a 5-6 deadly pattern here. One of them is going to be resolved by a knight's move. 5 is looking at that cell. There we go. And then, oh, well that 6 gave us the knight's move to resolve this other deadly pattern. And we finish off, and there we go, Snooker Knights by Olimar complete. Oh, loads of people have solved that. Excellent. Well, it's a good puzzle. And maybe many of those have solved it better than I did, but I needed Nighty McKnightface to come in and help at the snooker tournament. And that was an absolute pleasure from Olimar, as always. Thank you so much for watching us on the channel. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.